So, Pedro, we're here in the Healthy Longevity Clinic in Boca Raton, a wonderful facility. And of course, you're not only the founder of this, but also the founder of Longevity Tech Fund. So, explain to me why you started all of this journey in the first place.
Well, so it all started 4 years ago when I founded the Longevity Tech Fund, the VC in the early stage for the early stage investments in the longevity space.
Yep.
And during the journey, the 4 years of experience of talking to, I would say, maybe hundreds of scientists and various companies, and actually investing in 44 of them, gave me a unique perspective on, what we actually need in the space and what we need for really to provide significant expansion of our health span. And the point is that everyone is working on something, something specific. It could be like, telomeres extension, or it could be killing senescent cells or whatever, improving whatever pathway. But actually, no one is really looking at the individual as a whole. It's not just the whole, like a holistic approach. Is really combination with the precision and personalized medicine.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So those 44 companies that you've invested in, obviously some of those are longer term biotechs, some of them are nearer term, perhaps diagnostics and maybe some early interventions. So you're saying really that view and that experience that you've had as not only the companies you've invested in, but some of the companies you haven't invested in has given you a fairly unique insight now as to how a longevity clinic should be formulated. So how does Healthy Longevity Clinic differentiate from the multiple clinics that are starting to appear all around the world?
Well, so I think that the main differentiator is really our mission, because what we are up to is really to find, research and develop ways how we can find the right mix of longevity interventions, or I would say combination of these interventions on long-term basis. And this is why actually we started build the portfolio of the longevity tech fund companies in a way that it will create the unique mix or blend of all these various technologies, not just across various biological pathways, but also across the timeline. So we'll get access to short-term, mid-term, and even long-term solutions. But there is a long way for these interventions to the market, especially because of various regulatory approval problems or requirements. So this is why the part of the health longevity strategy, health longevity clinic strategy, is to conduct clinical trials together with our portfolio companies, which is a way how we can actually get these interventions to the market, or bring them to people faster and maybe even cheaper, because this is why we obtained regulatory approval in the Bahamas to run this early stage, would say, human clinical trials.
Right.
But the key thing is that we can allow longevity type of endpoints of these clinical trials. So it's not just because the aging is not recognized as a disease. So everyone else, even all portfolio companies, are forced to do clinical trials focus on specific disease, to target these and nothing else. So they are kind of restricted on using this longevity strategy.
Okay, so I tend to look at the market in this kind of longevity now and longevity next. So obviously, what I've experienced here at Longevity Clinic is part of what's available in the market now. It's safe, it's proven, it's deployable, and of course it carries traceability, so I can see whether things are improving or not. Now, obviously, what you're talking about with the Bahamas is kind of like the next stage activity, right? So this is helping some of your portfolio companies, and potentially not all portfolio companies, but some that will be outside of that, to then get to in-human trials. And would that be in a stage process, so it goes through a traditional clinical pipeline, or would people get access to these therapeutics earlier because they're going to the Bahamas?
Well, eventually they will get access earlier, but I need to point out that these are supposed to be advanced therapies, right? So then this is not just get some IV on the corner.
Yeah.
So the one must be really ready for that or specific type of such a therapy.
Right. And,
This,
and what would one be? What would be an example of one of
yeah.
these new
So
therapies?
I think that we our client typically, and we have got 450 clients already. European clinic and the Florida clinic. So they are on a so-called longevity roadmap, where the first year is typically dedicated to setting up this, let's say, longevity baseline. So getting rid of potential issues, improving or normalizing various biomarkers, getting them in the shape of readiness for some of these therapies. But even then, I suppose it may take one of the year of the program, to getting ready for something very, very specific. But that's fine because these clinical trials are on the beginning. So we are launching several of these early next year, and there will be more and more coming in next 2 and 3 years. So our clients will be perfectly ready, in 1 or 2 year period to start with these advanced interventions. And you can imagine that if with the current state of the art diagnostics and interventions, we typically see, the biological age reduction by 10 years. With these advanced interventions, we are aiming much higher.
Well, interestingly, of course, you've just talked about, published your biological age. So now you're 16 years younger than your chronological age. Is that right?
Well, I didn't publish it yet because
you published it to me on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
That's true. So it just leaked. But yeah, you're right. Right. My latest two diagnostic methylation age got 16 years below my chronological age.
Right.
I'm 55 years chronologically. I got 39. Which was kind of surprising because I really had like a minus 6 18 months ago, so I didn't expect that I can improve as much.
Right.
But I typically, because I'm obviously on top of everything we can do in the clinic, and I'm kind of a guinea pig of some of these interventions. So that's basically one of the additional proof that we can really deliver.
Okay, so let's talk about the typical client journey. So I've had the benefit of experiencing a clinic journey here, and you've been through it yourself. So perhaps it would be good to understand for somebody that walks in off the street, or somebody books an appointment and comes in off of the street, what's that experience like for them? Both in terms of what they receive here, but also what's on them. What do they need to do with their lives to make sure they can benefit and maybe, like you, get 16 years younger?
Yeah, sure. So, obviously, the beginning is kind of similar, probably as some other longevity clinics. So we need to know, all the potential, all the details. We need to run all the diagnostics on that particular client, which will give us the perspective and allow us to prepare so-called longevity roadmap. So it's a matter for several weeks when we run these diagnostics. We do some repeats because then we always find something, some suspicious areas where we need to dig deeper, and know more detailed biomarkers. Doesn't make any sense to measure everything at the beginning because it will be just too expensive. But we can do this specifically. So after the period of approximately 6 to 8 weeks, we are really ready to prepare this longevity roadmap.
Okay, and so you had all the diagnostics beforehand. So after 2 months of all of that work, I would then have a very clear line of what's coming at me in terms of my own behavior, as well as what you can do for me as a client.
Well, the principle of longevity roadmap is not just to be clear, because it's a long-term journey. We expect that you need to do this at least over the period of 1 year to really see significant results.
Yeah.
And so we are very specific for the first 3 months, which are mostly focused on this stabilization, getting rid of various issues and normalizing parameters. And then we are starting to incorporating more longevity type of interventions. But it's always super individual. There is no like a package you can buy or whatever. It's always based on your specific needs, and our findings what type of intervention will be the most efficient for you, because it's not just the matter of the budget. It's it's a matter of your individuality, from various perspectives, including genetics. So the roadmap is always tracking your 3 months interventions, and there is a hypothesis for improving specific biomarkers. And if we see that we succeeded, then it's fine, we can continue. But if we see that we are not maybe improving as we want, we need to solve the problem. That problem could be like, you are not doing what we want you to do, or maybe the intervention must be changed. So it's a dynamic process and dynamic cooperation.
Yeah. So obviously, I've flown in. I've had some therapeutic support. I've had some diagnostic support, and I'm going to fly out again. So, what is a typical client for a clinic? Are these going to be people that are coming in and coming out, or is there also a sort of localization strategy for bringing people in to benefit from what you can do?
Well, so we are, at the beginning having like one European, one US clinic, and the initial examination must be done in person, and maybe the regular checkups every 3 months needs to be in person. But in between, we can do a lot of stuff remotely, except some of these special interventions requiring the personal attendance. But our strategy, is to improve that availability, having maybe another 5 clinics around the world. We call them flagship clinics.
Right.
We are not definitely aiming to be everywhere, because that doesn't make any sense, to build such a big physical assets. We are the one to work with partners and even license or longevity roadmap, and analytics to others, allowing other clients, to use or benefit from these programs, and without needed to come for long distance.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the future. You've referred to the fact that in the Bahamas there's going to be some new therapies coming online, first access to those types of things. So we're going to be entering into 2024 soon. So what would Healthy Longevity Clinic look like in 2029?
Yeah. So in terms of a long-term plan, as I mentioned, more than 5 flagship clinics, probably led by I would say, the biggest longevity center, which is about to be in Miami. That's the one core point. The other core part of the strategy is this relationship with all partners, with other clinics. We are currently working with up to 5 various partners around the world, helping them to build their longevity clinics, because you can build a physical facility, you can buy any equipment you want, but the only thing you can simply buy today is this core knowledge, core longevity experience, and access to these advanced therapies. And we are about to offer that access to others. So we hope to have like the tens of various partners around the world.
Okay, so you're talking about five of your own facilities, and then maybe in a kind of McDonald's way, you own some of them yourself, and some of them are going to be franchised out to trusted third parties.
Well, I would not ready to McDonald's style of franchise, but obviously we are still sticking with our mission, to be a not just the leader, but really find out the best possible way how to intervene in improving our health span and providing people with many more younger years. And that's the biggest part. In 5 years, I expect that we will really be able to deliver a lot in that time. So we'll have many satisfied customers, which will be seen, not just spoken.
Yeah, great. Well, Peter, thanks for your time today. It's always a pleasure, and thank you to your team for helping me as well. And best of luck with the future.
You're welcome.